A man by the name of Frank Kreatschier gives sort of 7 guides that I'd like to share with you as how we develop and work with this law of attraction. And the first is this: know what you desire. Have a clear mental image of the thing or the experience that you're wanting so that you can see it, and most important, you can feel it. That it's an image that creates an emotional response. And the emotional response is this great vibratory energy that radiates within us and connects to everything about us, that we literally become a magnet, drawing to and inviting the entire created universe to participate. When Teilhard says we are evolution become intentional, this is it. We become intentional by tapping into the thing that we desire and allowing ourselves to feel what it's like to experience the thing or the desire that we are holding. And the second thing is this: believe it'll happen. Because if you don't believe it'll happen, guess what? It won't. Because if we don't believe, then what happens is that we're actually putting up a defense against the very thing itself happening. This is why I think sometimes, people will just do affirmations till they're blue in the face and nothing seems to happen. It's because somewhere there in the back of their mind, even though they are saying this affirmation, they don't believe it. And this doesn't mean, going into magical thinking, that we're going to, win the lottery or something like that. Not that you can't, but it's not about going into fantasy. But here's the thing: do you believe that you can be healed? Do you believe that you can achieve financial freedom and independence? Do you believe that you can find meaningful work or a loving relationship or whatever the desire is? Do you believe that you can have it? Emma Curtis Hopkins, who was a pioneer in the early New Thought, used to say that our first affirmation is this: that there is good for me and it is mine for me to have. It's this thought that the very intelligence that brings the desire into our being brings also the ability for it to be realized. Do you believe that? And the third thing is this: is to visualize your desires. And that is to create mental images, mental pictures that we can see, that we can experience, that we can hold as an image. Again, when we go back to the work of Neville, that we hold the image in our mind in that hypnagogic state, so that it's actually programming our subjective mind to move to the image that we've planted in there. And then the fourth guide that he says is this: is to have an inner dialogue with yourself. This is where affirmations do come in, because they introduce new and powerful thoughts into our life. And so it's to change the conversation that we have. This whole month we've been talking about cultivating this relationship with the inner guide. And this is where the inner guide comes in, right? Because when we're asking, what is mine to do? Why did I come here? What's the meaning of my life? The real question is, who's asking those questions? And that's the one that we want to engage a whole new kind of conversation or dialogue with. Am I saying, that you're talking to yourself? Well, you already are. There's a running commentary going on in all of our heads all of the time. Often it's the inner critic. And what we want to do is we want to take the inner critic out of the driver's seat and let them find their appropriate place, but let the inner guide, the inner intelligence, that which is loving and wise and good and desires our well-being, that's the one we want driving the bus. And then the fifth guide is this, is to ask yourself better questions. What I mean by that is, maybe I know it's true for me, is, it's so easy that inner critic can ask terrible questions like, how could you be that stupid? Or why did you think that was a good idea? Or you actually think that you can achieve that? Those are the wrong questions. Energetically, we back away from them. Energetically, they wither us. But we want to ask more interesting questions like, in order for me to achieve this good, what are the skills that I need to learn? Or if the thing that I want seems far away, how do I get there? Do you see the difference? It's engaging our curiosity. It's engaging our mind. It's not making us wrong. It's not criticizing us, but it's simply asking the question, what do I need to learn? What skills do I need to have? What went wrong here, and how can I fix that? And then the sixth thing is this, is to let go. Another way of saying it is stop trying to control things. This is the whole story behind the Bhagavad Gita, is to engage, to set our desires. But once our desires are set in motion, is to handle them lightly, is to back off. Because if we keep trying to influence how it's supposed to be, then kind of what we're doing is we're giving a message to the universe that it has to be a certain way, often based on images that we hold from the past. And there's no novelty in that. If we trust the process, we can go on with our life and let it work itself the way it's going to. And finally, the seventh step in the guide is this, to always be grateful. To always be grateful. Because when we are in that state of gratitude, we are expansive, we are open, we are connected, we're unified with all that is. And so a good practice daily is the practice of gratitude in and all things. And when we engage using these 7 guides in a new level of our own sense of self-mastery, what we begin to discover is that our life is so much more powerful than we ever imagined it could be.